this is all the tripod you're ever gonna need. Let's get into the video. And that's looking pretty good. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the water. All right, so I recently got this tripod from K&F Concepts, and they sent out this tripod to me to do a review on. They have no say in this video because even when I upload this video, they don't have to see it first. You guys are actually seeing it first before they do. So yeah, this tripod is pretty small for its size. It holds a weight capacity of about 22 pounds, which is pretty good. And also, I love how compact it actually is. Let me just do a quick unboxing before I actually get into deeper with this video. So once you open the box that it comes in, all you have is just pretty much this case right here. And then once you open the case, you will have the tripod in there, of course, but also you get an Allen key and this little pamphlet to show you how to actually use the tripod. But I'm going to show you guys everything about this tripod. So I recently went out this morning and I really wanted to just show you guys, without me babbling on about how great it is, I literally wanted to show you guys how it is outside in the field. Let me show you that video now. A little bit windy, so that would help to test the stability of the camera, because one of the most important things is always to check stability and safety for my gear. And as you guys can probably see, is that how small and compact this tripod can be. So let's move to the other section. All right, so far so good. It literally locks into place, and I like that. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is these notches that you use to unlock the feet of the tripod. But so far, it is pretty smooth, and that's always a good thing. I'm not too sure what speed would be like if I'm looking for speed. But the one thing I do is I just unlock it first on all legs, and then I'm able to kind of get it out. So I twist to the left to unlock it, and then I'm able to pull all the legs out. And yeah, I mean, it feels okay. There's a little bit of wobble, but once the legs are out, it definitely feels okay, and I'm liking that so far. The neck can go, up and down, and it goes as high as this. And once you lock it, you can see the height. I'm about 5'11" right now, so I think this tripod is maybe about 5'6" in length. But one thing I like too is also, if I unlock this, I can now slide this out, and now I have like a T-stand with my tripod. So best test is to actually have my camera on top. And one thing too, guys, is you can actually turn this tripod in you can actually turn this tripod into a monopod, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my camera out and let's see how it holds up. All right, so I'm using my trusty A7 IV for this test, and I love how the feel of the plate that goes below the camera. It has a really nice rubbery feel to it. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but it looks pretty good. And let's see how it goes about going up below my camera. So pretty straightforward as a plate can be. All right, it's on the camera now. So let's put this on, slide it on, tighten it, and then all I do is just loosen this knob right here, and then it feels pretty good. One of my concerns with a lot of ball heads is how well it does when I level my camera to my horizon. How well is it going to be when I tighten? Okay, good. So one thing I noticed now is once I tighten it, there's no shift in the ball head when I do tighten it, and this is always one of my concerns. So that is always a good thing. So far so good. It's pretty much at eye level with me. So height wise, it is pretty good. And it feels pretty sturdy. Hitting it, there's like a slight vibration, but it just stops almost immediately. So I'm loving that so far. Sorry about the noise in the background. There's a ferry passing by. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I want to do like a quick setup of the, because I'm gonna capture this scene right here. But what I'm gonna do now, just to help, is to apply an ND filter for my camera. So I'm gonna take my camera off. This type of ND filter actually goes over my sensor. So as you can see right there, it's actually on my sensor, over my sensor. And now all I'm gonna do is nicely flush with the camera. All I'm gonna do is just kind of put it in. So now this is like a 10-stop ND filter. So I'll be able to shoot very slow shutter speed because I want to, this busy water right now, I want to be able to capture it being very silky and smooth, not very rough. All right. So let's put this back on the tripod. The weather is actually changing and getting a little bit chilly. That's why you see me guys wearing a jacket right now. All right, so let's take you guys with me over here. Wow, the wind is picking up. Once I get closer to the water, it is really picking up. I don't know if you guys can actually hear that, but it is really picking up right now. And the tripod is pretty much holding up nicely. The one thing I like too is below the tripod you have this little thing here where I can actually put my bag on there. So what I'll do, I'll put this down because I'm actually monitoring my video so that I'm not too overexposed right now. All right, so let's bring this down a little bit. So once you twist right here, you can easily slide that down a little bit. And that feels pretty secure. And if you want to, let's say you're worried about whether or not the tripod is sturdy enough, I can easily just hang my bag on the bottom to give it an extra bit of weight. And that is a good option to have. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be testing so I still have a little bit of light inside the buildings over here, and I really want to capture the scene as best as I possibly can. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to bring my my shutter to at least 4 seconds. I'm going to bring my ISO all the way down to 50, and my shutter speed is going to be about f6.3. All right, so that looks really good. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna back up a little bit. And as you probably can hear those waves hitting the shoreline. It's really, really heavy, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back up a little bit more because what I wanna do is I wanna capture my foreground, the middle, which is the water, and the buildings in the background in this shot. All right, so it's looking good. I'm going to focus on the buildings over here. All right, so I'm locked into the buildings over here. I'm going to lock in my focus, and now my focus is all locked in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just set a timer, and I'm going to do a 5-second timer. So what that does is if I press the button on the camera, it pretty much after 5 seconds should have the vibration and everything stop, so you can get a really nice sharp picture. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the first test shot. and that's looking pretty good. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the water. I can definitely get a little bit softer. So what I'll do now, so I'm gonna go back to my settings before, but let's not make this about photography. So, you know, I'm gonna go back to just this tripod, and like I mentioned before, guys, is this tripod is, you're capable of having this as a monopod. So what I wanna do is I want to actually show you. So I'm gonna just back up a little bit so you guys can actually see. So let me turn this off. Let me take my camera off. It's gonna put it down here. And then the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna detach the neck area here. So once that is unscrewed, this is what it actually looks like. All right, you can see it right there. This is what it actually looks like. And then now, all I do now is I'm gonna loosen the middle section here, and then I can actually just take it all the way out. I'm gonna put this down so I don't lose it. And now it has a hole in the bottom here, what I can use to attach to the actual leg. So one of the legs can actually be detached. So this leg right here can actually be detached. I'm just gonna loosen it. Like so. And once that is loosened, I'm going to put this down, rest on my bag, and now we have ourselves a monopod, and it's pretty long, and as you can see, it's pretty much close to almost my height, and this is pretty good because it's at eye level with me. So if I grab my camera. So now I have my camera on the monopod, and I can still go ahead and shoot. I can adjust the ball head as much as I possibly want. But are you going to be getting your steady shot with this if I'm doing any kind of slow shutter shots? No, because this is definitely going to have a lot of movement and shaking. So which is why you need a tripod with 3 legs. So as you can see, the options are pretty good. You have a tripod option and also a monopod option. So if you're someone who's doing wildlife photography, you have those really long telephoto lens, this will be perfect for that, because when you're doing wildlife, more than likely you're going to be using very high shutter speeds, and this would be perfect for that. So let me set up back the tripod and get back to you guys. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to test how it is when I pull this out and I unscrew this, like so, because I really do like this feature a lot. And the thing I like about this too, you can actually rotate this section right here, so to just rotate and change your angle. So I'm going to switch this out. Since I'm working by myself, I have to kind of put the lens between my legs, and then attach this here, and then detach. All right, so now I should be seeing a whole lot more of my landscape, so I can go a little bit closer, because my bag and stuff is going to be in the shot, and that's a lot better now. So I'm going to have to refocus now, since I'm using a totally different lens. I'm going to refocus, lock it in. Now, like I said, my settings are 10 seconds, f14, ISO 50, and just going to take my shot. So at this point, I don't have the bag on the tripod. As you can see here, there's no attachment. The bag is not on there. So this is just the tripod by itself. So we'll definitely see how well any kind of vibration from this wind that we're having coming in, and see whether or not it's shaking the tripod while I'm taking the picture. So let me just check and see. And it actually looks pretty sharp. And I love how my water looks, but the sky right now looks phenomenal. But the one thing I think I want to do is I want to rotate my position just a little bit, because there's a little bit of the sun rising on my far right side over here, and I want to get a bit of that. So I'm seeing my phone and my bag in the shot, so I'm just going to move my bag and my phone. All right. So I'm going to refocus once more, go back to autofocus, All I'm doing, guys, is just kind of focusing on the buildings over here, and I lock my focus in. I'm going to take the shot one more time. So what I'm seeing now, guys, is I'm losing a little bit of the highlights in my sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump it up now to f16, and now I'm going to take the shot once more. Let me get my focus, making sure my focus is good, and then I'm going to take my shot. You know, the one thing I can say about this tripod is it's very versatile for its size and for how compact it is. This is one thing that anybody who does any form of traveling would truly appreciate. The one thing I really love too is I love how smooth these are. So once you loosen the knob, it is very smooth for, you know, movement, and also, you know, just getting it out with the legs is pretty easy. And what I really also appreciate is the fact that you can tear this down to actual 2 to 3 pieces, so it will be even more compact, but you don't necessarily need to do that because of how it's folded away, like I showed you before. And if you want to do any form of low level shots to the ground, this tripod definitely will be able to accomplish that, with you able to have the legs all the way out, and it can actually go even further. So I love that. I also love how you can reverse the legs and actually have your camera on the lower end of the tripod, so you can get an even lower perspective. But only thing with that, guys, is when you have it in this angle, you cannot lock the legs in any kind of state. So that's one thing you have to just keep in mind. So make sure that if you're going to be doing that, have the legs on a sturdy surface where the rubber, and these are all rubbers right here, will be able not to move, will not be able to move. So just keep that in mind, guys. But while working outside, I literally had no issue. There's one point where I actually hit the tripod and it actually tilted over, and when it landed back, it just shake for a couple seconds and then it'll stop. So for a tripod this light, it is pretty sturdy. I think the height of this now is 67 inches, the total height. So I'm 5'11" without my shoes. When I put my shoes, I'm about 6 feet. And this tripod went a little bit above my head. So yeah, if you're a tall person, this is basically going to be ideal for you. What are the pros and cons for this one? The pro so far is how compact it is. That's one of the main factors for me. I love how smooth the ball head is, because a lot of ball heads that I have actually used, when you actually move into whatever position and then you place the camera, once the camera is placed on the tripod and you move the ball head in the position that you want the camera to be in, if you're tightening the ball head from not moving, oftentimes it repositions the camera. This doesn't do that. And the one thing I really enjoy is how smooth this ball head is when you're actually moving it, especially when there's load on here. I actually love also that when you look at the bottom section here, there's some numbers that, you know, shows you where you can position your camera. So if you're doing something like a 360 or a panorama, this is ideal for that. I also love that you can actually extend the head of the tripod even more, and then you can put it into a different angle just like that. Just keep in mind, guys, there's actually a stop sign on here that you would have to just pay attention to, because this is a recommendation that you kind of have it balanced, so that just in case the whatever weight that is on top of your camera, which is the camera, it will not tilt over to one side or the other. So just keep that in mind, guys. And once it's actually up there, you can actually rotate this thing. Let me just loosen it. You can actually spin this thing when the angle is out like that, so you can see that it's moving right there. What else? I love that you can actually detach this and make it into a monopod, so that is also another plus. Like I said, the only con that I see so far with this particular tripod is the fact when you reverse and you want to do a low down shot. Let me just lock this in place. When you want to do a low down shot, you cannot actually lock this mechanism in place, and I don't like that. That's the only thing I can say that I've noticed so far of using it, that it's not, not able to lock in place. And also, I'm from the old school where my tripods had the locking mechanism. I'm not necessarily accustomed to this, but I'm definitely getting used to it. It's not bad. It's not the quickest. So if you really want to move fast, then this might not be an adequate tripod for you. But beyond that, I think it's really good for intermediate persons and beginners. You know what I'm saying? Pro level might need a little bit more heftier tripods, but like I said, the load on this is 22 pounds. So yeah, and the model of this is a T255A4, and it's pretty good because I never knew that. I actually didn't know that K&F actually made tripods, because I'm always buying their filters for my camera, the ND filter, CPL, you name it. So to know that they actually do have this, and it's pretty good, guys. It's pretty good for someone who like to travel and also love doing any kind of nature photography, landscape, you name it. As a wedding photographer, this is not something that I'm definitely going to be using in the field, but whenever I do go out to do any kind of landscape photography and stuff like that, I will definitely be using this for sure, especially because of how compact it actually is. I actually love that, guys. So if you guys are interested in getting this tripod, guys, there will be links in the description below. And if you guys enjoy this video, smash that like button, guys. And if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe for more, and check these other videos out of products that you might be interested in, guys. And see you in the next one. Peace.